Hello and welcome everyone to this Warcraft replay. This is going to be the second of this best of three. Just to point out, I was correct on the last statement that I was going to mention, but failed to, which was that Griffin Riders only require Castle Tech. And yeah, I interrupted myself on a correct point, but you know, it's always those little things that I'm always scared about in the comment section because I always make assumptions that are usually wrong. So yeah. To me, the +2 melee upgrades indicated it was Griffins, and then I was like, well, Griffins need Castle Tech, but then a little thought in the back of my brain was like, wait a minute, don't they just need Blacksmith? I could be completely wrong here, so I just shut up. I just shut myself up. Anyway, game 2, map's on Ancient Isles. It's relatively smaller compared to Bright and Dark, so shorter game, maybe longer game, could be. Ancient War being placed down next to this Ogre Magi camp. Yeah, it's kind of, actually it is, I don't think I've seen, I don't know, I don't think I've seen many Night Elf players stun in the bottom right, so it's kind of awkward for me to see Ancient War creeping on this Ogre camp, because literally, as far as I remember, all Night Elves are on the top left. But anyway, hero's probably going to be a Demon Hunter. No, it's not. It's going to be a Warden. Still, okay. So, I mean, Warden's not necessarily not seen in Ancient Isles. Ancient Isles is probably one of the maps that you see the Warden a fair amount of times, but I'm surprised that Tho would still go for the Warden. Because I just assumed based on tendency, because that's just how Tho usually goes, but he didn't this time. FQQ, interestingly enough, built a, I don't know if it's interesting enough. Where's his hero at? There it is. It's going to be a Naga Sea Witch first. Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. Interestingly enough, he is also going for a Tavern hero again. Not sure, because I was expecting a Tinker again, but it's not. So this is generally his fallback plan. I believe we have seen this before. I'm not sure if it was against Yumiko or if it was against Shishi, because you know I'm procrastinating so much I don't remember the series exactly. But Sea Witch versus Warden, and the Warden is very close to level 2. It's probably a sign that Tho is way ahead. Or it might just not be way ahead, but just still ahead. And again, FQQ doing this rather weird tower placement. We have seen this before. I believe it was against Shishi on this exact same map, but it was weird because he's literally just camping in this spot. He's setting up reliable defenses, which is, you know, understandable, but I honestly think that Tho could just skip that place entirely. I mean, he's literally got like 1, 2 more entrances or exits and entrances to his base. Seriously. Arcane Tower is nearly going to be completed. Maybe Tho has watched Shishi's and he's like, oh, it's this thing again, or something like that, but who knows. Naga Sea Witch is falling rather low and will be taken down by the Archer and Warden. Did have the TP scroll. I don't think FQQ wanted to pull back all his units, so maybe he just accepted his Naga Sea Witch's death, which he just instantly revives right now, but still a weird investment of resources, I think, from FQQ. What pathway are we going? It looks like it's just going to be the double Ancient of War Huntresses. Ultravision is being researched right now. We do have an abundance of archers though, so I mean, he's still producing archers, and maybe he's just there to compensate, or maybe that's just being produced to compensate for the high number of footmen, although Huntresses actually also cover that. Those just producing archers. He is supply blocked though, so his production is going to be halted for like 2 seconds. I mean, he already had one on the way anyway. Glaive throwers are going to be the units of choice once again from Tho. I mean, that's the other option besides Huntresses. Oh, is that triple? That's triple Ancient of Wars. But either way, we're going to go for Huntresses as well as Glaive throwers. So he wants to get rid of this this little encampment as quickly as possible, and I thought this was an arcane vault, but apparently it was not. It was a lumber mill. FQQ needs to be careful not to cut down the trees that are defending him. So yeah, and of course he needs to watch out for the gnolls that could be aggroed. But either way, army supply of 36 versus army supply of 29. FQQ is trying to stay even here, but he is going to be sticking with Footman for a little while. I mean, he is very close to keep tick despite that, so maybe he might compensate with just better tech. Who knows, but the glaive throwers are out. The archers and huntresses is going to try and defend this to the best of their ability. We're going to have also an Ancient of War moving out as well, but one arcane tower, one guard tower, and a second guard tower is on its way. So unless there are more glaive throwers out, I can't see this working out too well for Tho. Defend is going to try and just mitigate as much damage as possible, of obviously not really mitigating the Shadow Strike from the Wardens, but the archers do still deal a fair amount of damage. Workshops are being constructed. Interesting. So, one of the rarest things in Warcraft 3 compared to StarCraft, StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 I guess, is that not many people in Warcraft proxy, and this is exactly what FQQ is doing. He is proxying. That just means like that usually means in RTS games just placing your buildings, or particularly production buildings, just away from your base. Occasionally it's just closer to your enemy's base and just reduces the travel time but increases the risk, so that's generally what FQQ is doing. I think the proxying is less frequent in Warcraft 3 because, well, number one, heroes can be a major factor into this, denying the construction of proxy buildings very effectively. And number two, literally every race has a siege unit, or a more accessible siege unit, I should say. I mean, the same thing goes for StarCraft as well. There's siege tanks, there's colossi, there's swarm hosts, but in Warcraft it's a little more accessible because aside from humans and undead, they can build it from their just first building. The barracks for the orcs, Ancient of War for the night elves. Even the workshop you see here, it's kind of accessible as well. You just need to tech up once. Same thing goes for the undead. So yeah, it's weird that he's proxying because he's just fighting fire with fire. Those got his siege units, and FQQ is building, producing his as well. So let's see who has the better army, I guess, or maybe even the unit control, because that also plays into this as well. Tree of Ages is nearly done for Tho, so he will be able to have access to either the Ancient of Lore units or the Ancient of Wind units. Seeing as he does have Hunter's Hole, it seems more convenient to go Ancient of Lore, but then again, Ancient of Wind doesn't need anything, so yeah. Meanwhile, Tho kind of caught with his pants down, I think, because he just got out of base, and then FQQ is going to was thinking of exploiting that. However, the same thing kind of applies to FQQ. The glaive throwers are doing work at the back of that encampment, but you know, it is encampment versus trading a base, or at least your infrastructure of the base, so, you know, there are some worth moments and some not worth moments, but still, more glaive throwers means more damage, and I mean, they're just simply doing way more compared to those mortar teams. Although those mortar teams were able to pick out one glaive thrower. So basically just hit and run for these mortar teams right now. One did fall, and it looks like the Nagasewich will clean up. Level 3 has been gained, so she is keeping up with the Warden. However, the Warden I think impacts way more with higher levels compared to a higher level Nagasewich. Right now I don't know what FQQ is wanting to go for. All he's doing is producing mortar teams, but he's not necessarily attacking with it. I think he's used them most for defense, which is not good because he won't get anywhere from this. He'll only go down. It's not necessarily that he's so high he only go down, but it's just that he can't go up, and going down is literally the drawback if he doesn't do anything. Level 2 Shadow Strike on the Nagasewich. Probably going to force her to quaff a potion, but the same thing also for the Warden as well. There we go with another potion, another Shadow Strike, but the potion has been used, so both heroes are going to retreat for now. Though is at tier 2, but FQQ's been there for longer. Let's see what he does with it, because he's just rebuilt his workshop. Although he does have one back at base, which is not doing anything. I'm not sure why he built one here. But anyway, I guess I commend FQQ for lasting this long with this encampment. I mean, obviously last game versus Infi, it didn't really last well and had no idea what the purpose of those towers were, but now we are seeing the extent of what this strat can do. Unfortunately, it's not going to work out too well because he's literally just trading glaive throwers with mortar teams, and I mean that seems even, but I think Tho could just easily go in and destroy the rest of those buildings with his own units. Meanwhile, those mortar teams are kind of those units that is trying to let's just forget about that point. Goblin Tinker has been picked up as the second hero, and once again staying with the theme of siege, Goblin Tinker can obviously disrupt the glaive thrower line with his pocket factories, but I mean, if he places down those factories like that, then it's clearly not a good investment in terms of mana. Mortar teams are making themselves a little artillery hole for them behind these trees, which is going to be rather interesting, because if Tho is aware of this, he will just simply avoid that, or he could just return fire on his own, because he can do that with his glaive throwers. Fork lightning coming in from the Nagasewich. That is kind of the one ability that makes her still viable in the later stages of the game, just because of how much ridiculous AoE damage it could do. But yeah, even though, I mean, she's trying to compete against a Warden. A Warden has literally all the tools in her kit right now. Fan of Knives being used. She has Shadow Strike. She has Blink. She has everything in the book. Ooh, glaive thrower nearly taken down by those clockwork goblins, but you know, they don't necessarily do that much damage. Moonwells will be used up by the Warden, and I think FQQ really should bring the offensive during daytime, because it will strain Tho from just using his Moonwells. Going back to the base, we still have mortar teams being trained up. I don't think we have any upgrades, but I could be completely wrong. 0-0 on those footmen, 1-0 on those mortar teams, but we have 1-0 on these glaive throwers as well. Pretty good usage of the Archer's Shadow Meld right there, giving the vision for those glaive throwers to compensate for the diminished vision range during daytime, despite the ultra vision, you know, being researched. We also have a flying machine out there, so scout machine was able to provide the true vision to just kill off that shadow melded archer. And there we go. Like I said, glaive throwers can just literally return fire. It looks like FQQ is going to try and do some free aiming here, but to be fairly honest, glaive throwers can do the exact same thing, like I keep on saying. Will we have another Shadow Strike coming out? Nope, not really, but Naga Seawish needs to be careful herself as well. It's a rather weird game, rather weird series of games, because well, actually game one wasn't necessarily like this, but this game of Siege is rather weird because it seriously just mentally puts players in the mindset that if they stop production of that one unit, they will lose the edge in the siege, or if they consider counterattacking at different locations, then they will lose the siege, or just something like that. Just the 50-50 stalemate kind of thing. So yeah, it's literally just frozen the pace of the game. Neither players are thinking of going for tier 3 units. Neither players are thinking of maybe trying out a different comp. And look at that though, trying to do something else gets punished for it. It's just a weird game to play, I think. Okay, second hero is coming out, and this is just staying with the theme of Siege again. What a weird game, I think. So Priest of the Moon is being trained up for Tho. He is most likely training that unit up, or hero up, for one skill, and that is most likely going to be the True Shot, or just a little bit of oomph on those glaive throwers and maybe those archers as well. But you know, we can also consider the other types of the other abilities that the Priestess of the Moon has as well. The Scout Owl is not necessarily that bad in this circumstance because it is invulnerable and it can give permanent vision. Searing arrows could be a possibility because it just deals, you can activate it on those buildings, but it is going to be our Scout. We'll be able to provide vision on top of that, and remember guys, this is a cliff, so he can't necessarily see that up here, like even during daytime. So the Owl Scout is kind of a smart, I guess, change of events for Tho, but he's gotta do something, because this is just a weird game of chicken and mouse here. Cat and mouse. Ugh, got that completely wrong. I was gonna say it's a weird game of chicken, and then I said mouse. I was thinking of cat and mouse at the same time. Generally because those two like concepts are literally the same. The owl has been resummoned, but yeah, the glaive thrower is still not doing anything just yet. I think it's because the mortar teams just provide that much threat, I think. Anyway, all-out brawl, this, and then all-out retreat. It's just weird. I think we have more mortar teams than glaive throwers now, so maybe this might be FQQ's chance. Very nice Phantom Knights actually hitting a couple of those mortar teams with it. but it looks like the glaive thrower is nearly taking down the mortar teams themselves. Looks like though will be forced to retreat once again. Goblin Tinker, I believe, was taken down by the by the Shadow Strike. So yeah, still very interesting that the Priest of the Moon would go the Owl Scout right now. There could have been other alternatives, I think, instead of like investing a point into the Owl Scout. Huntresses come to mind because they can place down their sentinels, which is basically just an owl you can attach to a tree, and that is a possibility. I think the drawback of that is because I think peasants can take it down by attacking the trees themselves. So I think that's why he didn't go for that alternative. But either way, I believe the Warden is going to make some plays on her own. Let me just find where the Warden is. Oh, never mind. She's not making plays. She is just staying in base and hiding away from me, actually. Priest will be sniped off. That's basically just the mortar teams couldn't react to that in time. The gold mine's already mined out? Wow, it's been that long? I did not even realize. So yeah, gold mine for both players has been completely depleted. We are going to have the fragmentation shards for the siege engines. I think that was siege engines, or that might have been the mortar teams. I think that was the additional AoE on the mortar teams. But we're having siege engines coming out.
A player's forces are under attack.
Weird. Because he spent resources on that instead of another base. I think this is just FQQ being a little impatient right now. But anyway, let's see how this will work out. Shadow Strike once again on the Nagasiwa. She's seriously just eaten so many of those. She doesn't care anymore. She is just continuously fighting. But looks like one Fork Lightning and then she's out. I really think this was a terrible idea from FQQ, bringing out his units out into the open. True Shot Aura has been trained up, so that's additional 6 damage? Wow, 6 damage on those glaive throwers. Uh-oh, Tree of Ages is being focused down by the siege of FQQ. If Tho loses this building, oh dear, he is going to be revealed. Does he have resources to replace it? He does not. So the only way he can rebuild the Tree of Life is by selling those units. Not units, wow. Warcraft does not support slavery. Selling those items. So selling TP Scroll, Ring of Protection, everything, so we can afford a new base. But the Warden is just going to be that much more at risk of dying because she no longer has the TP Scroll. It looks like FQQ is considering on expanding, but does he have the resources for it? He does not. Does he have the items for it? I don't think he has enough items either. I mean, he can still get gold from the bounty by killing those creeps, but I don't think it's enough still. He does have +9 claws. That might be sufficient amount of gold, but I mean, who knows. Priest of the Moon was able to chase away that siege engine, and obviously, like, if he repairs it, then he's going to be out of resources. It looks like he just spent resources somewhere else. Castle Tech has been reached for FQQ, so he does have the Staff of Sanctuary, which is a pretty good way of compensating for the lack of desire to repair and spend resources on that. But uh-oh, Warden doing what she does best, killing peasants. Good Phantom Knives right there, and if she is able to kill off these peasants, and I believe FQQ will be at a stretch because he does not have that many left. He has 1, 2, maybe 3, but that does not look like it is going to be likely. He only has 2 peasants in his encampment. Oh no, there's a third. He does have 3. But still, considering FQQ is... he can't come back from this. I can't imagine him doing so because Tho is about to rebuild. I mean, obviously he's got to wait for that entanglement, but still, he is set on the late game. FQQ is just there. I'm not entirely convinced on these siege engines as well, because, I mean, 2 siege engines, yeah, siege engines are pretty beefy, they take a lot of damage, but, you know, it's just 2, and you're facing a lot of glaive throwers, which deal additional damage to those siege engines anyway, so not the smartest of investment, I think, from FQQ, and that might bite him in the ass later on. Siege engine moving out to try and prevent this base from being built, but look at the damage already being dealt to this siege engines. Like 2 shots from both the Ancient War as well as the siege engine, glaive thrower. Nah, that's not gonna work out. Alright, desperation attack from FQQ. He's gonna place down the puck factory, but there's literally nothing here. I mean, a couple of moonwells, maybe that's vital, but other than that, that's literally just a level 3 Shadow Strike on the Nagasewich. She does have a health potion to use it, so might be able to do so. Yep, now she did. Unfortunately, that's the last health potion she'll probably chug in the future. And I mean, the Warden is coming back, and she is coming back with the Bloodlust to try and kill that Nagasewich, but I don't think... There we go with another Shadow Strike, and that is probably guaranteed death on that Nagasewich now. She's just trying to all in that Warden, but nope. Is not able to. Able to kill these glaive throwers though. That's pretty much it though. Nagasewich being taken down. Siege Engine trying to make desperation move right here, but it's also going to be full taken out. FQQ, GG, and that was probably too long. That was longer than it should have been. And that was the weirdest game I've ever casted. Well, maybe not ever, but that was the weirdest game I've casted in probably the last 2 months. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I don't know how, but yeah. Anyway, take care.